Hey guys, welcome to A.F.C. Curtis. I'm your host Curtis, and I'm super excited to be doing another interview, not just with anybody, but with one of the top, I believe, top fullbacks in the Canadian Premier League right now, Morey Doner of York 9 FC. How's it going there, Morey?
Good man, just got back to training a few days ago and I'm ready to go for season two.
Man, how excited are you? You're in the Canadian Premier League. Your year one is done. You kind of had that breakout year it seemed last year. What do you think is to come for 2020? I remember seeing a video not too long ago from training. I think it was in January or early February. They were saying they were working on a few things this off season to make you a little bit more versatile. How's that coming?
It's good, man. I took about a month off after the season just to relax. It was my first year as a pro, so very taxing. But I actually was doing a lot of personal training and 1v1 work with a trainer from Toronto. So working a lot on weaknesses, my left foot, and just trying to add a few more things to my game. A lot of people know kind of what I do this last year, so I just want to add a little more dynamic and just to take up better areas and just to take people one-on-one and to take it a little more serious this year because I just thought last year I got a little complacent at times. I was not doing the wrong things, but I was just overthinking sometimes. So I'm trying to relax and just get into it. And I've been talking to Jimmy a lot about what he wants me to do this year. So I'm very excited and just want to keep pushing forward and onto the next season.
So how did it all start? How did this obsession with the beautiful game start? Like how did it all take off?
It was honestly my dad. I just remember kicking a ball with him when I was 3 or 4, and Collingwood, man, it's a very hockey-oriented town. So I just remember playing with him, and I think organized soccer started when I was about 5, and right away I loved the game. I loved being around it. I always had a soccer ball in my hand, and the next few years I was playing, 2, 3 years up. I remember I was about 8 and I was playing under 11, under 12, and then I got into the rep scene and was traveling a bit and just really understanding the game. Really, I wanted to do this. I wanted to be involved in this game, and all my friends played hockey, and I didn't have a lot of friends that really played soccer, so it was often tough to connect with people that I really cared about. But honestly, my dad was very hard on me, very hard on me. Whenever I did something right, he would never have anything good to say, and whenever I did something wrong, he would always scream at me. So just um, I take that today. I'm always trying to do everything, the right way. And just him being there for me was just what I needed and got my love for the game started.
So is there a player that you idolized then growing up, or you just idolized yourself maybe 5, 10 years down the road?
I'm a huge Manchester United fan. My dad got me into it as well. I just remember Roy Keane and the fantastic 99 team, and just remember as a boy just sitting with him watching. But obviously Ronaldo was a big inspiration to anyone. But I look at Danny Alves as a huge inspiration for me. I actually was a winger when I first really got into a serious side of soccer. So um, then I converted into one day there was a player that was not showed up, and the coach just said, "Does anyone want to play fullback?" And everyone was looking around, and I said, "Oh, like I'll do that for half a game." And I loved it. I loved being able to contribute on the attacking and the defensive side, and I think that's what the best fullbacks do. So, Danny Alves is one of the best in my opinion, and also Trent Alexander-Arnold is amazing. He has the technical ability just to whip in any ball, and that's what I want to add this year. I want to be more consistent. I want to be able to pick my teammates out in the air. I want to be able to deliver good balls. But I thought I did a good job with everything last year. But my teammates keep saying the first years, you have a good first year, and it's always harder to duplicate that the second year. So I just want to keep my head on the ground and stay motivated and just do the small things this preseason. And when it comes all around, I hope I'm ready to go.
So, was there ever a point in your upbringing when you're coming up through the Collingwood area there? Did you ever think to yourself like, you know what, I could see myself doing this professionally, or even did you just evolve into having that mindset of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it, I'm going to do this professionally as my career?
I think there was a few times where I thought to myself, where can this go? Where can I go with this? I just always had the problem with, getting exposure, and that's one of the things I always tell people is, it's tough when you're in a small area like that, and I play every week, I play good, and everyone sees me and everyone knows who I am, but that it doesn't really help me because I'm in this small town, and how can I get to a better place? How can I get there? And I just remember I was in grade 11 and I was playing in high school soccer, and it would always be those kind of things that you fill out, and what do you want to do as in your career? What do you want to do as a profession? And a lot of people said police officer or doctor, but I always put professional footballer. I always wanted to be that, and luckily I got my chance a few years later. But it was very tough. I felt almost kind of secluded at times because my mom and dad did everything for me. They always pushed me to be the best I could be, but just I always wondered like how can I take the next level? Am I always going to be in this town? Am I going to be stuck here?
Yeah, no, I'm that's actually a really good point you brought up there, just because you're in an area. I believe the population is about 20,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's about 20,000. It was
Right.
about 16,000 a few years ago, but it's growing a little.
So thinking about that now, because you brought up a really good point. Obviously, Canada's a very vast place, and there's a bunch of little towns with these smaller communities, and I'm sure there's great footballers there. What do you think that you wish you had, that you could maybe foresee coming in the future, that could help kind of bring attention to those footballers in those smaller markets? Like, what's something you wish you had maybe come through your town?
Just facilities, man. Just an ability to be training all year round. I just remember even this past winter when I got back home in Collingwood, the snow comes early, and when I got home, like early November, there was already snow on the ground. There's one turf field in Collingwood, but it doesn't have a dome over top. So when the snow comes, in the past years, I was shoveling like a little 5v5 area, and trying to use a little concrete foot off the little track there just to kick the ball back to myself. But as a kid, I actually had an unfinished basement, and I would kick the ball off the wall and just try to do some technical stuff in the basement. But honestly, there's hidden gems everywhere, and that's a lot of people, really don't get that answer coming across, because I just believe, with my story, there's players that haven't been seen, but they're not getting, it's very, the problem with Canada is you have to pay to be on a good team. You have to pay to
Yeah.
get exposure. And growing up, it was $60 to be in house league, $200 to be in rep soccer. Now OPDL's 4,500, 5,000, road trips, another 2,000. So those are the players that are seen because they're paying and they have facilities and they're training with good coaches. But the players that aren't, it's tough for them because, I never came from money. My family was average, and for me to be in a program like that, it's taxing on the parents because it's a lot of money, and a lot of parents just can't do that. They can't do that. So I just wish that there's a little more funding in some small areas and a lot more facilities, because people can play all year round. Maybe they'll have tournaments. Maybe some coaches will come scouting. But for me, even I have friends in Collingwood now, some kids that are reaching out to me and saying, how can I take the next step? The first thing I say is, I think you should go to Toronto. I think you should go to a bigger city, because it's just that's the way it is, man. That's the route you have to take. You have to be where the eyes are because, I paid for my opportunity to go away, and a lot of players wouldn't do that. So it's tough, man. But I just hope I actually want to do some stuff with Collingwood. I'm going to be doing some camps over the winter, next winter. I'm very connected with the technical director there, so I just want to just help out and just bring awareness and try to help as many people as I can.
Yeah, and I mean, and like you said, your story. I mean, your story is fantastic. To come from a small town and into a few years, you had to take almost those roads less traveled, but you still got there. And I think that's the important part, and that's a big reason why I wanted to interview you today, is to just bring awareness to those kids out there. I always get, to be honest with you, I always get people messaging me on a weekly basis, like, oh, how can I take the next step? How can I do this? I live in so I live in St. Anne, Manitoba. The population is in 1,000 maybe, and it's like these tiny little areas that they're good, but it's just how do I get to that next step? And I think you perfectly gave a great answer for them. That's something that's important to think about. And in terms of your development here, obviously you coming into that area a few years ago, you actually took that next big step. Now, 2016, you go to Brazil. You did a trial there. You went to the PDL later that year in 2016 for Palm Beach Suns FC. How did all that come up? Just because, like you were saying, you're in Collingwood, not a whole lot of exposure there. So how does that deal come through that you get those opportunities?
Yeah, so I was playing this men's travel team in Collingwood. So Collingwood was playing in OSL. It was like a regional league, so we'd go maybe as far as Newmarket or Cookstown. And I was playing that for about 3 years, and a lot of people knew who I was. And the thing is, like, if they see a good player, they're like, let's get that guy. Let's take that guy out. So I was at a point where, I was training by myself every day after school. I was doing all the right things, and I was just like, where can I get seen? Where can I take the next step? And for me, I didn't have any friends in football. Like, I had friends that I knew, but they weren't at a level where I wanted to be. They weren't at a level where I aspired to be. And I went on Google and I just searched up like agents, and I was looking, I was actually working with a friend I used to play with. I was just trying to get his opinion on, like, what agent do you think would help me out? And I have no professional experience, I have no resume. So for an agent to do something for me, I had to pay money. And I found this agent, and he said, I can get you to Brazil. I can get you to third division Brazil, but you're gonna have to pay. And I said, whatever it takes. I just want to be a pro. I don't know how else to do it. I just want a chance to be in the professional atmosphere. I want to go. So I paid, and I showed up at the airport, and he picked me up. And right away, I just got like a kind of a weird vibe. So in Brazil, there's 3 divisions: City A, City C, and City B. And it's a national league. But there's also state leagues. So he said, oh, we're going third division. So we get in the car, and I kind of looked up where we were going at the time, and we go in the total opposite direction. I'm like, huh. So I didn't say anything. We drove like half an hour, pull into this gate. It's like little kind of, houses, like shacks with like kind of cement on the top. I was just like, what's going on? He's like, this is where you're going to stay. So this was actually like in Sao Paulo, there's 3 divisions of state league. And this was the 3rd division of state league, not the 3rd division of the actual national league that I thought I was going to. So he said, oh, get out. Like, the technical director is going to talk to you. Like, I don't speak Portuguese. I know nothing. And luckily there was a guy there that spoke Portuguese, and I was just, I felt lonely. I felt lost. And he told me the club was going to get my visa, just a trial. And if I impressed, then, they would sign me. And, I was eating lunch and dinner by myself, just cut off from the world, really, because I'm in a new country. I don't really know what's going on. But when I was on that field, it was the happiest time of my life. And for the first time, I was a professional footballer. Maybe I didn't sign a contract, but I was living the dream. The fields were, 3 inches thick with grass and really bumpy, but I was doing what I loved. I stayed there for about a month and a half, and I said, like, what's going on? The team was traveling away for games, and I was staying at the house accommodations just by myself. I said, like, what's going on with the visa? Because I could only stay there 3 months without a visa. And the coach said, oh, I want to sign you. We're going to get you the visa. And then a week later, he says, oh, we can't afford it. Like, it's going to be like $2,000. So the minimum salary in Brazil is like $200 a month. So these players, have families, they're living on the other side of Brazil, sending all the money to their wife, and they see a kid like me, everyone thinks I'm rich, everyone thinks I'm, oh, this guy has money, and, they want to take advantage, they want to ask me for things. They don't think that I'm a good player because, oh, Canada, what's Canada? So it was tough to, get respect from the players, but over time I did, and I made a lot of friends, and friends that reach out to me today that ask me, oh, can I come to the CPL? I want to come to the CPL. Like, can you talk to your coach about me? And no, it's one of those where it's a great process for me, because there's times where I wanted to cry because I didn't know what was going on, but those are the best players I've ever played with. Brazil, millions of players that want to play football, and to be in the professional atmosphere is a dream come true. And I ran down my visa, and the agent said, oh, I have this opportunity, the Brazilian owner of the Palm Beach, you can go there and finish the season off. So I went home to Collingwood for a week, went to Miami right away, and the PDL season is very short, so it's for university athletes, so it was only until the end of July, and I got there in like middle of June, so I had like a month. And the coach said he would actually send me on trial for a USL team, and I played well, started every game, 7 games, but he gave me his number, and I kept calling him, and he wasn't answering. And it's football, because I learned the tough way that sometimes it doesn't work out for you, but it never got me down. I kept working hard, and I went to Aurora, came back. It was the end of the season at Aurora, and that's where I met Jimmy. A lot of guys were going back to school, to university, and I had one friend that I knew, and I actually DM'd him on Instagram and said, oh, you play for Aurora, I just came back from Brazil in Miami. Can you try to talk to your coach about me? And he said, yeah, sure. Like, it's not a good atmosphere right now, but you can come. And that's where I met Jimmy, and I played under him for like a month, and I played at Aurora the last 2 years. And I always wondered, like, for me, I'd rather be at a smaller team like Aurora than a Vaughan or a Woodbridge, because I'd rather be if I play good at this team, people are going to notice. But if I go to that team, I'm just going to be like someone else.
It's crowded.
There's a lot of players, and I had friends who say, why are you playing at Aurora? Why are you playing at Aurora? And I said, no, I believe in what's happening here. I want to play here. And 2018, the coach made me captain and just brought me aside and said, Morey, you're going to play every game for me. I want you to take the next step in your career. I want you to have exposure. And if I can get one professional player a contract this year, that's my job done. Because there's a lot of young kids here, and they look up to you. And I didn't even want to be captain, but I was the oldest on the team, and he said, no one's going to respect anyone but you. You need to do this. So I said, okay, no problem. And no, I thought to myself, through all the experiences that I had, through all the, rejection, through all the times that I felt alone, through all the times that I was alone in Collingwood, I just thought, if I can have a really good season, if I can play every game, at least I have a chance. And then I got called to the All-Star game, went to Quebec, set up a goal, and I was really becoming, a good player in League One. I was really, when people thought, oh, Aurora, they think of me. And that made me really happy. And Jimmy actually called me halfway through the summer and said, I've heard a lot of good things about you, and I'm keeping my eye on you. Just keep working hard. And there was like a York 9 professional kind of like a showcase in the middle of the summer, and I went and I did really well. And he said there's going to be some stuff coming up in the fall, and just keep an eye out. And I finished the season, and he said there's going to be some trials coming up. You need to come. And I went for a week and I played well and impressed. And he said, "Morey, we're going to sign you." And I just an exhale, just deep breath. It's actually came through. 25, going to sign my first pro deal. Just said thank you so much. Called my mom. Broke down in tears. Just I did it, and everything that I've ever went through, it's okay because I never gave up, and that's what I want to get across to people. When people message me, just keep working hard. You're gonna go through tough times, and that's life. But football is a crazy thing, and I think I felt blessed, and there's a lot of luck, but I feel I deserve this. I feel I deserved a chance, and I knew when I had one, I would have the motivation to just push on, and hopefully I can have a good career after this.
Do you feel like going through that adversity for so many years, coming from a small town, trying to make it in the big leagues, going through everything you did in Brazil, the PDL, even League One in the last couple of years, do you think that all kind of shaped your playing style, but also more importantly, like your mentally, I was talking to you for a few minutes before we even recorded this, and you're just for a 25-year-old. Sometimes they are immature. Sometimes people who have very little professional experience and in anything from sport to any industry, they might not have a whole lot of maturity. But like you got tons of maturity. You seem like a leader. You're calm. You're cool. You're collected. Do you think all that was formed and forged almost through those years of adversity?
For me, I'm a very, very humble guy, and I want to just get across that I can't take this for granted. Like I'm a pro athlete right now. I'm a professional footballer, but it can be taken away from you like that. A serious injury, a bad couple of games, and I'm not playing. So right now, I just the things that I've gone through in life and in football, I show that on the field because I'm hungry and I'm starving. And when I went to Brazil, I saw people starving. A lot of my friends, they couldn't even afford to go out and have a pizza with me on the weekends. And, I felt like we need more players like that here because, a lot of people are given things on a silver platter and they don't realize that, people go in and they grind and they sacrifice everything. There's players that, will die, will starve for a chance, for an opportunity. And now that I have it, I never want to let it go. I'm holding on to it and working hard, and it's taken me super, super, super long time to get to where I am, and it's been very hard, but the hard work only begins here. It's going to be 10 times as hard to keep the level here and to get to the next one. So I just want to just show people that I'm a humble guy, and I work hard for everything, and I'm never going to take it for granted because waking up and doing something that I love every day, you can't take that away from me, and I never want to let it go.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I congratulations too on obviously the contract, but also just the story. Again, I can't put it out there enough for people watching this. Like, don't let any excuses stand in your way. I mean, Morey didn't, and look where he is now. I mean, he's there. He's playing. He's living his dream. And as we said, like you went through all these years of adversity. You kept building. You kept grinding. You kept grinding. You got up. You did the things you maybe didn't want to do, but you got them done, and that led to 2019 last year. You make it now as a professional. You sign that deal with York 9 FC. You're there. Not only are you there, but you arrived. You broke out, right? You played 25 straight, the last 25 straight CPL games for York 9 last year. You're an all-star. You're a superstar. I think you ranked number 12 and the top 50 players on One Soccer's ranking. You're considered one of the top fullbacks now after 2019 in the CPL. And I still think that you still have so many other levels to go. I mean, you're only 25, turning 26. So, I mean, you got an incredible year last year, got incredible years ahead of you still. But going back to that first year, that all important big first year in pro soccer there of 2019, is there any moments that stuck out to you as this being a major milestone for you? Obviously, I'm assuming the first game, first goal, any more?
Yeah, just really when Jimmy told me that he was going to give me a chance, because at the beginning, like I was working really hard, and um, I was learning how to be a pro. I would always ask questions of the gaffer and of my teammates, because these are new emotions, these are new feelings, and some people don't know how hard it is to really be you know as a pro. It's very taxing emotionally, and I was just dealing with that, and I wasn't playing at the time, and that was okay with me, but I obviously wanted to show what I had, and I just kept asking. I always ask questions. What can I do? What can I do to get better? What can I do to improve? What do you want me to do? And he just said, keep working. Just keep working hard. I see you working hard. Just keep working hard. You're doing a great job. And I remember we came back from a away game, and some of the starters were on the side doing some recovery stuff, and some of the guys that have played a little, I was in the session and I was doing really well, and he pulled me aside and said, I'm going to give you a chance here and just be ready. And I said, okay, good. Maybe I'll come like in the next few weeks. But we had a game against Forge, the home opener, like in the next 2 days, and the day after we had like a video session to prepare for the game, and I saw my name like as a starter. I was like, oh, like this is great. I felt so happy, but also nervous, because I didn't want to make a mistake. Obviously, my first professional game, I wanted to just show what I had, and I knew that if I made a mistake, it would be a long time before I got a chance again. So I just wanted to do the simple things right, and fortunately we lost that game. But I thought I, showed a good account of myself, and did some things right, did some things wrong, but I thought I really showed who I was as a person and as a player. And he gave me another chance the next week. I did the same thing and started to grow into myself. My team was starting to adapt to me and starting to, give me the ball more and trust me. And I was just learning new things every week as they come. And it was a crazy couple of months at the beginning. We had the Canadian Championship, but the debut was a special moment for me, and obviously Montreal Impact away, playing at MLS Stadium, of course. I know Montreal wasn't doing well at the time, so like we had like 17,500 fans at the game that day, and just that's a different beast. You walk out and your heart's racing 10 times as quick, and you're just trying to stay focused on your game, but you get this opportunity once in a lifetime, and you just wanna perform well. And it's just I'm very happy to be in the position where I am now. I don't take it for granted, and the things that I did last year, of course I want to do better, and I want to get better, and I want to take that next step in my career. But I'm learning with my teammates, and I'm learning from other players as well, how to defend, and how to learn with the players that I have now. So it's all a learning process, and I really hope I can have a good season this year. I really have a lot of confidence after last year, and I want to push on and do more.
So what are you looking forward to in 2020? Obviously, it's a new year. You got some new teammates there so far. Everything's looking really exciting for York 9 in 2020. What are you most excited for?
I'm looking forward to the Canadian Championship York 9 TFC game, and this is before I hope they don't change the format. And I know Ottawa's probably going to be in, so we'll see how that works out. But I honestly I think that'll be great for the region, because last year we had a special night in York, and we had a lot of fans come out for that, and everyone really came around as a community. But, you know, a lot of York 9 fans are TFC fans as well. So it'll just be interesting to see, you know, how that plays out. And, you know, I've gone to a lot of TFC games in the past, and to play at BMO, to play against some players that I look up to will be really special.
Yeah, I mean that'd be an incredible game. I've been waiting literally since they announced York 9 to see that York 9 versus TFC kind of really get that rivalry going, and obviously the Canadian Championship. I think it'd be really cool to see too, because I mean it's crazy. It's like Toronto and Vaughan, you know, it's like it'd be like David versus Goliath, but I think that obviously York 9, I mean the CPL really showed last year, especially in the Canadian Championship, that you can't take them lightly, because they'll get you. I mean, you guys came really close to being Montreal last year. You got Calgary FC made that run right to the semifinals last year. So I mean, I'm really excited to see that. Hopefully, it does come true, and we do see TFC York 9 in 2020's Canadian Championship. But other than that, Morey, I'm gonna let you go there. We're gonna have to talk soon, though. We're gonna get you back on. Does that sound good?
Sounds good, A.F.C. Curtis.
All right, man. Thank you. And before I let anyone go here, of course, you got to make sure you hit that like button, that red subscribe button, hit the little bell notification. Get notified each and every week when I drop a brand new episode just like this one right here on my YouTube channel. You can also watch my content over at northernstarting11.com. I'll have a link for that website down in the description below. And guys, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Morey, for joining us.
Thank you, guys.